Hi Stampers, how are you doing today? This is Cindy and it's day 4 of my Stampin' Up 2014-2015 catalog show and tell, and today we're going to be doing my daughter's 21st birthday card. That's my baby and she's growing up so fast. The ombre technique is still pretty hot, so we're going to go ahead and do that with this brand new stamp set of chalk lines. I'll be using this image, and for the sentiment is either going to be something from here, and this is called Amazing Birthday, or the speech bubble stamp set. I had I don't have it. I don't know why I don't have it. I had to I bought it from my digital studio yesterday. I just haven't printed it out. So I'll do that. Since those images are pretty big, but I do have an idea that does include vellum, so we're going to wing it. What I'm going to do first of all is I have die cut a scallop in the size of my Whisper White A2 card. I got 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 down. I need to get this securely onto the back of my grid mat, and it's not wanting to come out. Okay, I got it going again because there's just no way I'm going to be able to find another one right now. I hope my camera's not all, the angle's not all wonky looking, because I really had it tilted up. So I can get the whole card in here and everything. So I just put some adhesive on the back, temporary, and now I'm going to put some in the middle. Rubs off real easy to keep it down, because I thought it'd be very cool having those scallops in there, so when the card is open you can still see part of the ombre. I had to put that stamp on my stamp press since I didn't have a block big enough to cover it or to put it on, and I wouldn't stick it on a block anyway, since I have more control over this. I have 7 colors, so the first thing, we're going to overlap a little bit so you get like more colors. First one I'm going to use is Daffodil Delight, and I'm just going to stamp that on there. I don't like to get ink on the feet of my stamp at all. And I'm not going to pause in between the time that I clean the stamps or anything like that, because it'll actually take me a lot longer to get this video up if I do that. And I have things to do today. Okay, so there was Daffodil Delight. I'm going to go ahead and get this down at the bottom and just give it a really good press. And I have my wet wipes here. They'll be really easy to get the ink off. And also my little tea towel. I don't want any residue left over. Next color up is Melon Mambo. I'm going to measure like this so I know that I don't have to stamp the entire image or ink it up. Okay, that's it for Melon Mambo. When I overlap, it's going to be by about 2 or 3 lines. And I'm not paying any attention to lining up these little waves or anything like that, because it all ends up the same in the end. And I'm kind of bummed that didn't work right there, but it'll just show me that I need to press down more in the future. Now these darker colors like Melon Mambo and the next one of Real Red that I'm using, they're a lot harder to get off with wet wipes. But when I'm done with this, I'll, you know, of course, clean the stamp the right way. I'll see how these two kind of made their own orangey color. That's really cool. I wanted to zoom in there a little bit to show you more. I'm trying to get into that movie mode again, so it's short, but instead it's going to be pull mode. Okay, so that was red, real red. I'm going to wipe off my excess. On my stamp press. You don't want that ever. Okay, so I'm going to move that down. And I love the control that you have with these. And make sure that I press down a lot harder right there. Okay, so there we have a pretty cool intense color. Okay, next color up is going to be Winter Wisteria. It'll be interesting to see how that pairs with real red. And since that's such a heavy color, I'm going to make sure I have a nice thick coat on here of that stuff, and I do. So I'm going to go, you know, down, like I said, 2, 3, 4 lines. And I forgot to wipe off this right here. And down at the bottom where the Daffodil Delight is, I'm hoping it won't show up on my card. I don't want to start this all over. It took me forever to find a scallop. And honestly, since I'm going to be putting that flag on, I really wanted to use pinking shears to tie it all together. After about 4 cards in the garbage, I thought, forget it. And Stampin' Up! Does have a pinking shear die cut. Unfortunately, it's only going to cover the 4 1/4 side, not the 5 1/2. And if you're going to make a die, people, I want to be able to use it both sides. So again, I'm just making sure that's dry. Next color up is a nude in color of Lost Lagoon. And I have an awful lot of ink residue on that. I'm not going to worry about it. It didn't go down with the Winter Wisteria, so hopefully not with this one. You know what? I just realized that I didn't turn on my other light for you. Or any lights, but the one right next to me. Sorry. I can lighten it up in YouTube as I'm uploading, but it makes your video jumpy, I've noticed. That's pretty cool. Okay, another color up, I hope I have enough colors, is going to be Marina Mist. So I may stretch those two out a little bit, who knows. At first I thought that image was too big, but it works out. Okay, we're going to get that down. And I really hope you're not seeing a lot of headshots. In the other videos, I've said this, I haven't seen you get one I think you get them more standing up. I am loving the new colors that are coming out of this. So get that one wiped up. And I didn't use orange, but if you look down here, you can see it. Last one, wild wasabi. Get that opened up. Start inking up my stamp on my stamp press. And I want that to be really strong since it's at the top. Okay. Perfect. I have my like 3 lines that I can go down and line it up at the top so we still get our colors. There we go. What do you think? I think it turned out great. Okay, for our sentiment, I'm going to grab a piece of vellum and make sure I get it all nice and powdered up. And I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss that with, I'm going to stamp it up with some Versamark first, and then we're going to sprinkle some smoky slate powder over it, just to, even though this is really pretty, just to kind of, tone it down a little bit. I am just going to put some powder on my vellum cardstock here. Get all those oils and everything else off. This is inked up with Versamark, and I'm just going to go ahead and press it down. Not too heavy. I have a really juicy pad, so if I go too heavy, it's going to turn out to be one big blur on me. And there's a lot of There's a lot of solid images on here. And let's see if, can you see that? How nice that turned out? So I'm just going to sprinkle some smoky shadow, because even though our colors are beautiful and I love the way it turned out, kind of needs to tone down just a tad. I'm going to flick this off a few times in my garbage can. Go ahead and stick my powder back into its container. And with how detailed and large this stamp is, it turned out very well. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Stampin' Up! Heat tool to heat emboss this. What I've discovered is that I like the heat tools that in 2 seconds you're done, but if the heat is not as much and it goes a little bit slower, it doesn't warp very much. because that warping's bad, and we know that. So I'm going to let this heat up for a second and then get this heat embossed. This took a lot longer than I thought, but turned out real nice. You can see all the words, and I am happy with that. So I'm going to let this cool down for a second. Okay, for our sentiment, I'm going to grab a piece of vellum and make sure I get it all nice and powdered up. And I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss that with, I'm going to stamp it up with some Versamark first, and then we're going to sprinkle some smoky slate powder over it, just to, even though this is really pretty, just to kind of, you know, tone it down a little bit. So I'm going to add my Versamark here off to the side, since I have that exactly where I want it. And now you might get a headshot. I hope my flag fits in there. It's kind of a dinky piece of paper. I'm just going to give that a good press. I think I always press too hard on stems. I see other people just go up, down, and perfect. Oh yeah, I got a very good image out of that. I am glad I kind of went overboard on that, because that stamp did have a lot of solid images in it. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Get this opened up for you. And then I'm just going to sprinkle. I can see where I put the Versamark real well. And I'm just going to, looks like I'm going to flick a lot off. And I'm going to have to do it underneath the garbage, because I didn't give myself enough paper there. I am just going to put some powder on my vellum cardstock here. Get all those oils and everything else off. And this is inked up with Versamark. And I'm just going to go ahead and press it down. Not too heavy. I have a really juicy pad, so if I go too heavy, it's going to turn out to be one big blur on me. And there's a lot of there's a lot of solid images on here. And let's see if, can you see that? How nice that turned out? So I'm just going to sprinkle some smoky shadow, because even though our colors are beautiful, and I love the way it turned out, kind of needs to tone down just a tad. I'm going to flick this off a few times in my garbage can. And stick my powder back into its container. And with how detailed and large this stamp is. It turned out very well. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Stampin' Up! Heat tool to heat emboss this. What I've discovered is that I like the heat tools that in 2 seconds you're done, but if the heat is not as much and it goes a little bit slower, it doesn't warp very much, because that warping's bad, and we know that. So I'm going to let this heat up for a second and then get this heat embossed. This took a lot longer than I thought, but turned out real nice. You can see all the words, and I am happy with that. So I'm going to let this cool down for a second. Okay, now that I've gotten everything off and everything cleaned up, this is what our card looks like. And I think it's really cool when you open it up. Check out the edges. I really love how that turned out. Next thing I'm going to do is take some of this brand, grab some scissors new, Smoky Slate. It's the 1/4 inch taffeta ribbon. Yeah, this will really tone it down, but complement it too at the same time. I've been meaning to do a card with Smoky Slate and Winter Wisteria, and then some other card, but not yellow. I've already done that. So here's what our banner pieces look like. I've been debating on what to do with them. I know that this one really kind of needs to stay right about here, so you're able to read the sentiment, but I don't want it to be so free-flowing that it flops all over the place. So I'm probably going to cut too much ribbon. Because, you know, I'm like that. And I'm going to make it, this part up here pretty, but this part down here, I want to cross like that, so it lays flat. And then I am going to maybe I didn't cut too much. Maybe I didn't cut enough. Because I do kind of want it to show through a little bit. The one time I need ribbon, I don't cut enough. Is that bizarre or what? Okay, so we'll just have a little loop at the top. And I'm going to get this one piece. I should really break out some glossy accents to help me here. And I know I'm going to have to scoot it up, but I still want that little loop to show, not, you know, something like that. I need it breaking out like this. There we go. I've decided to get a glue dot. 9 times out of 10, that is like the answer to life's questions. Get a glue dot. So I'm going to make sure I have my little loop up here, not the, let's hang on your doorstep one. Okay, I'm going to sneak that right there. I don't know if you caught that or not, but it's not that hard. You know what I mean. I just have to get it done. Okay, good. See how it loops like that? and it comes, because I want some tails too to stick out. So next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put this one on. I'm like way up here. I'm going to go ahead and put this little banner on. Then I'm going to take good care of where I place this so it doesn't look all funky. And this is like the perfect sentiment to emboss in vellum, because you can hide it so easily with all the print on here. I'm going to mess with it for a minute because I have to. So I want to get that straight and make sure everything's cool. Okay. I'm going to turn it around. It's going to look ugly for a minute, but just hold on. I'm going to sneak in my little tiny attacher and make sure I get it stapled at a nice place. And I do. And it worked. It's even in the middle too. So, okay. I think that's very cool. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the only thing I'm going to do is, because you know how I am about adhesive, and I have my tail sticking out for not cutting my ribbon long enough. So that's cool. This one's going to probably hang out down there, but you get the idea. But maybe not, because, okay, you can see where I got my, I was able to get both of it. What I'm going to do is just put one glue dot, or dimensionals. It's not long enough, unfortunately. I want my elevation, which means I need to switch to the monster roll. And I'm going to put that one all the way across, and that's going to keep everything down. But I should have moved this over before I laid it down, so that way it would have gone over more permanently. But it kind of looks like I just fixed that anyway. Okay, so we have like this cute little free-flowing sentiment in the middle of what I think is a really cool birthday card for my little she's actually the big princess. I think that looks good. Okay, so we got one up there. You could easily sneak something else down here if you wanted it to stay more straight or anything like that. But I want to jazz up this sentiment a bit. I hope this isn't another long video. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to grab some just your basic rhinestones, and that's it. I'm going to put them right here and right here. I can zoom in. I'm really debating on the size too. I mean, this would fit perfect, but I want something to draw your eye to that sentiment there, since we do have a busy card. So I think I'll put on the bigger one. That works out. And I'm just going to put that right there. And that's going to be it. I'm not going to put anything up there. I probably could put like this little row that I have left, but I think it'd be overkill. and it's really not my daughter's style. So I think that we're looking pretty good here. I'm going to zoom out so you can see more, and I'm going to stop because I want this to be short. And there we go. There's a really fun way to do ombre is I have 7 colors on here, and then when you overlap you get a brand new color. Again, down here I did the red, the Mellow Mambo with the Daffodil Delight, and I got orange, and then just worked my way on it. When you do ombre, if it's tone on tone, like if I was to grab these 2 colors of blues and then add more blue to it, that's cool, but when you do it like this, you really have to use your color wheel. That's the only thing that I can say about it, is that you have to do it like that. If not, it's just going to look, I like the way Laura Basson put it, like, you know, puke or something, brown puke. Because they're all just going to mud together and look awful, and we don't like that. So thank you so much. I made it to day 4, I think probably around almost a week later. I will see you back for day 5. It will be tomorrow night. And I have something really fun planned for them too. I actually have 2 things, but I need to make up my mind with one. But right after I do this, I have a summer class starting on Monday, so it'll go over that way anyway. So again, thank you for watching and stopping by to see me today. And this is going to be your challenge. Do something ombre, okay? And I will see you the next time. Have a great day. Bye.